show ahead of time. Let me just export this into Audacity.
The only new thing I got is this headset, and I love it. Oh my god! Got here yesterday. It's a HyperX Stinger.
Ooh, nice.
It's very nice. I've been impressed with the company. I used when I picked up a HyperX Cloud, and like right out of the box, which is the same thing was true for this one. Like all the like cushiony parts of it. Like the one thing I'm always impressed with HyperX is right out of the box they're just soft and cushiony, like just like I said, immediately soft, like right out of the box. Which is the only thing I don't like about Turtle Beaches. Like it's great sound quality, pretty good mic quality, but like their foamy bits are just so stiff right out of the box.
Aren't that good? Yeah.
So we're doing the
yes, I am.
test recording going.
Like I said, pulled it out of the box and it was the same thing for these things. Like, yep. It was like the sound is amazing.
Something longer than yes, please.
Hello, like this is me.
40, $50 for a wired set.
That's not bad at all.
The adjustable strap for the headset, the band itself is solid steel.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, solid.
It's like I keep telling people, like that's like Turtle Beach's one weakness: a flimsy, like adjustable headset strap.
Yeah.
But yeah, these things, these things should last a while. And it's one of those where you move the mic, like you slide the mic up to mute it. So no more accidental muting.
Oh. And that right there, sir, makes everything better.
Yeah, exactly.
That right there is worth it.
Oh, yeah, for
right.
sure.
So I forget all this other stuff. It's like, I don't have to think I'm talking to everyone and talking to nobody.
You don't have to hear, Des, you're muted. Des, you're muted. All right, so a little inside baseball. I noticed that my volume's a little low, but it could just be because my throat is messed up. Because my window has been leaking since I moved in, and there was black mold in it. So,
oh no,
yeah,
dude,
yeah,
That's no bueno.
no, not at all. So that might be the case that I'm going to have to mute a lot and clear my throat. But yesterday, I mean, for the past couple days, I've woken up like, man, my throat's really sore, which is totally normal when you work in a freezer. Your throat does get sore. It's like working in winter all the time. Yeah. And I was like, man, my throat's sore. And then, I just took a couple aspirin, which is the warehouse's water, basically. If you work in a warehouse, you take a lot of, you eat a lot of aspirin because, well, you have to. And I was like, all right, cool. And then the other day, my girlfriend woke up and she's like, I feel like crap. And I'm like, uh-oh. That's not good. And I was like, I've had a sore throat for a couple of days. And she's like, why didn't you say anything? I'm like, I work in a warehouse. Why would I say anything? It's normal. And she was like, my chest is really tight. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I'm like, well, I'm looking around, and she opened the window, and she's like, motherfucker. And I'm like, oh, boy. And I look over, and it looks like, like in horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
When, like, the evil takes over. That's what it looked like. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Went to the store, grabbed some bleach, grabbed some Tilex mold cleaner, because, by the way, that works really well, for anybody who doesn't know. So I'm looking around. I clean the windows. Everything's good. I look down. I see a water line. I pull back the dresser, and the entire corner of my bedroom has it.
Oh, no.
So I went and sprayed that down with bleach, scrubbed that for about 20 minutes, went and bought some Kilns paint, and that's pretty much what my day was. Went out and bought some echinacea and some vitamin C because that's, really the only way you can get rid of it.
Yeah.
That or get antibiotics, and antibiotics wreck me real bad. Because, everybody knows antibiotics work, but what they don't say is they work against everything. Good bacteria and bad.
Yeah.
And I think I read or listened to a podcast. Everything's kind of scratchy right now with all the podcasts I listen to. That after you take, like, say they give you 7 days of an antibiotic. For every 7 days of an antibiotic you're on, it takes you at least a month to get your system back.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a nuke. It doesn't matter who it is, what it is. It's like good, bad, indifferent. You're going. Get out of here.
Mm.
So we try to. I'm trying to avoid taking any excess antibiotics that I don't need to take. So
Yeah.
all natural, holistic for this guy, but my throat's real scratchy. So like
That's why they also recommend probiotics too.
Yeah. I take On It Gut Health, Pro Gut Health, and I take acidophilus on top of that because going to the gym and getting sweaty, you can get ringworm, and I don't want to get ringworm because I, if you didn't know, am a fancy lad. So, how's everybody else's weekend been?
Been pretty good. I did a lot of Faction Rally last night. Lot of Faction Rally. I was going for the rest of the ornaments, and my Hunter and Warlock are both pledged to Deado.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just farming for armor right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So that I can go do the Nightfall, and then that'll be the end of it.
Right on.
And my Titan, although I don't want to say it, is currently pledged to Future War Cult. For the exact same reason.
He just jumped right into the conversation, Des. I was like, "Oh,
I know, right?
we were gonna talk about that when Des goes over the TWA," but man, you got right into it. I like it.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, that's good.
No, you're
I know,
fine.
right?
You're fine.
Head first.
I like it. So, Des, how's your week been? How's your weekend?
Well, this week in warehousing, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if like our company like put our water on sale or whatever. But oh my god, oh my god,
Tons of water.
We had one order came in Monday. That was 75 cases of water.
Jeez.
Yeah.
The good news is a pallet of this water is 84. So I did the smart thing and pulled 9 off the pallet and then pushed the pallet into place.
Yep.
But everybody's just had like a bunch of like 25, like 50 case orders, and it's like, oh my god, what's going on? It's not even warm, like consistently yet. But yeah, so I've been dealing with a lot of freaking water. The bad thing is that store actually wanted 150 cases, but they talked them into splitting it up between 2 weeks. So come Monday, I'm going to have another order of 75.
But now you have the quick grab. So it's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just going to pull a pallet down, 9. It's like same thing all over again. Who I feel bad for are the truck drivers that have to take off each freaking case pretty much by hand.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can shortcut it. They can't. But yeah, so it's been an interesting week there. Yeah, as far as video, I mean, I would have played more faction rallies, even though I don't. The only ornament pieces I'm missing still are, of course, the helmet pieces, which I'm still kind of meh.
Nightfall.
I'm still kind of meh if I actually want them, because in my opinion, they're kind of the most lackluster. But
agreed.
Yeah. But sadly, Injustice 2 released their Legendary Edition,
Yep.
which added a whole bunch of stuff. Like, they increased the character level cap by like 10 levels. They added brand new epic sets for every character to collect, and this whole new expansive tutorial. So yeah, I've been kind of I'm again that a bit. Yeah, I've sadly not even pledged anybody in Destiny yet.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much the best intro you have, Des, for the This Week at Bungie review. If you want to hop up in
Twab! Which, it's kind of long, but literally it kind of summed up very simply to, well, other than the fact that, faction rally. See, the last faction rally is in effect for a while. And then they go into literally Nightfall unique rewards. They aren't saying much because apparently the community as a whole has opted to not be told a lot about the specific rewards. So all they're saying is you're going to be able to get them from a Nightfall. Each villain has a very rare and powerful unique item themed to them. And it, like I said, it will be rare. They're actually designing it to be a fairly rare encounter. And that's it.
I like that.
I mean,
hopefully it'll be more like a D1.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The whole strike specific loot, but have it be turned up a little bit, because if they're going to just be doing Nightfall rewards, not strike specific loot like they did in D1, hopefully it gets turned up a little bit for the potency.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's kind of refreshing that they actually went this way as well. Like, they didn't tell us. It's like, we're going to make it live, and you'll find out. Well, I mean, unless they, unless they classify it in the API, I'll have it in the spreadsheet. But other than that, I mean, it's going to be a surprise when you get it. So for those that don't want to be spoiled and don't want to know, there you go. I mean, they're keeping it fairly mum. They have given us like a little preview of some of the notes for the patches coming this coming Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Which is the, of course, Strike and Crucible repeat reduction for map and game type, exotic repetition reduction, which is they are specifying is from engrams. There's not going to be a repetition reduction for other exotic rewards, and if this post kind of explains it's like you can still like decrypt an engram, and your next reward might be that same exotic. Essentially, is what they're saying. But at least engrams in and of themselves are going to have that repetition reduction. They will increase the max power handicap on Nightfall challenge cards. I actually really like this change. But the timer to activate patrols will be reduced from 3 to 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And they fixed a few issues here, there, and yonder. But that's about the it's about the gist of the March 27th little preview, and that's in essence the twab.
Isn't this the also the quitters the
yes.
competitive quitting punishment, which for God's sakes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I did actually kind of skip that because of competitive house up to 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for repeat.
Holy crap. Like that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Now, my question about that is that going to just go into effect for Crucible in general? Because I have a feeling like a lot of people at the end of a match, they bounce to orbit because the match is officially over. We've seen the KD screen, and if they go to orbit from there, is that still going to be in play? Or are they going to be like within several minutes of the match will you get the penalty?
I would like to think, considering they do know like the habits of the community, I would like to think that like as soon as because the match does end. Like the match is over once you get your rewards, and the match is technically over. So I'm hoping that within that gap, it is not active. I mean, could be wrong, but I mean, I'm hoping. Because, like I said, that is like massive, Crucible culture is, as soon as the match
just
ends,
leave
like
right
bounce.
away.
Exactly. I mean, that's been in there since since D1.
Yeah.
Like as soon as the rewards drop, as soon as that timer hits 0, it's like, all right, let's bounce and requeue.
I mean, there's going to be some angry people for sure. If that, there might be some growing pains.
Yeah, I mean,
it might be you have to see the KD reward screen before you can split, as opposed to just match is over. All right, see you later, bye.
Now they are mentioning though also if you have connection issues that you could be getting these quitter penalties. So at the same time they are, make sure that you have a solid connection. Because they give that warning if you're anything competitive, make sure you have a solid connection. So, because I mean, being disconnected, like I said, from the sounds of it, will be counted as quitting. So, which is fair, because I mean, it's really hard, at least from their end, to tell if you're disconnecting because you're quitting or, well,
from
it's hard to tell.
Issues.
Yeah, if it's just a quit or if you're. There are some people that screw with their connection to quit. I mean,
right.
So
right now, the spirit of Crota is like, "Gotcha, motherfuckers, gotcha."
Pull the plug on me.
Remember me?
I'll teach you.
Crota's revenge. Get it? I mean, Destiny is starting to shape up. Like, I'm still playing it, rarely anymore because, like I said, I couldn't breathe for the past 3 days, so that's why I haven't been playing it. And but I mean, it still keeps my interest. A lot of people are like, it's not fun anymore. They need to do this. They need to do that. I'm like, hey, are you a developer? Calm down, Chief.
I've been seeing a lot of interesting opinions here, there, and yonder, and just as a warning to the general audience. Try your best, essentially, to effectively form your own opinion. And if you're into a video game purely for a loot grind, I mean, it's your prerogative for sure, but it does concern me, the amount of answers that are like, well, there's nothing to grind for, there's no this or that, and it's like, if that's your interest in a video game, I mean, it's kind of borderline gambling. If you're just looking for like an insubstantial thing that's not even permanent. I mean, I don't know. I might be having some weird idea on it, but I mean, because like I said, it's your prerogative what you're playing a video game for. Just because I care about the experience in general a little more. I mean, cool loot is cool. I'm never going to deny that, but it's not like, I mean, like Buster, I still play D2.
Yeah.
There's certainly not a lot of cool loot in D2, but I mean,
there's stuff I don't have.
Yeah.
Due to time constrictions and stuff, so I can still grind for that.
So yeah, I mean, because there are a lot of like high-profile community people that talk about the game in a specific way that can be highly influencing to people. Not even really the toxic people, but I mean then of course there are the toxic people that I think most of the community can know by themselves to like stay away from. At least the better part of the community, and then of course there's the complete other side that are so like super positive that they themselves are kind of tripping into. Well, yeah, they're like tripping into toxic territory themselves because like, oh, there's so many people talking trash about this game, so I have to effectively as loud sing Bungie's praises to the mountaintops. And it's like, no, just have a good neutral opinion. It's like stay positive, but just have your opinion. Don't take a stance just because.
The best way I've seen someone refer to it as too much sugar will give you diabetes.
Exactly.
And I was like, that's brilliant. Like, I can't think of anything, so. Because
a lot of people see, of course, the overly negative as being toxic. Because, I mean, it's easy to distinguish, but, I mean, it's not often that you see this super positive thing turn into something bad, which...
It does.
The Destiny community is kind of there between their very loud voices that are, this game horribly sucks and Bungie's the best thing ever. Shut up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh guys, just stop. Stop, please.
We don't need to fight about this.
Well, Bungie would make a better game. All right, calm down, Chief.
It's like, chill out. You know, if you don't like the game, go play something else. Seriously. I mean, come on.
They say that themselves. Bungie actually says it. Like,
it's like, guys, I mean, especially considering the phenomenon D1 was and how much time. I mean, D1, because I was actually thinking about it, D1 was practically an addiction for a lot of people. And I'm not using this terminology lightly because, I mean, we literally have friends that are like, yeah, my relationship with my wife was very strained when Destiny came out. It's like, that's not good. Like, that's not good. I mean, cool, you're playing video games, but it's a little extreme, buddy. Because, I mean, it's kind of like listening to an addict is like, yeah, every time I take cocaine, I mean, things get very strained for life. It's like,
have you ever been on Wasted on Destiny and see how much time you put into Destiny 1?
Yes,
I looked at
so
it.
Much.
I looked at it. I re-rolled 3 fucking characters. I had 3 deleted characters. I'm like, 3 deleted characters?
Right. It was so bad. And I think that's one reason I'm okay with some of the less grindy aspects being in Destiny, because it's like, you know what? Because there's been plenty of times that I just chill out with the family instead of playing Destiny. And it kind of feels good.
Some of the most fun.
I say kind of.
Yeah.
You know.
You get that itch.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just so cool that it's like, you know what? I don't feel like playing video games right now. So I'm just going to chill out and be a human for a day.
How dare you, sir?
I know, right?
I'm going to be a human for the day. Oh, okay. Oh, man. I mean, there's some days I'll be like, we have this Switch in the living room. And my girlfriend will be like, hey, I'm going to play my game. You can go play Destiny if you want to. I'm like, or I can watch you play Zelda, considering Breath of the Wild is... one, absolutely drop dead gorgeous, and 2, I can help you because, you know, you can get a little frustrated sometimes with the puzzles. So, you know, I could do that. And she's like, well, you want to do that? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, but you can play your game. I feel really bad because you don't play your game. And I'm like, I wouldn't have offered if I wanted to.
Yeah, no, right?
You know, exactly. This isn't reverse psychology here.
I may be a guardian at heart, but my body is human.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, it's like I said. Am I sad that there's a lot of things that were lost from the D1 to D2 conversion? Sure, but at the same time, it's like I get these. Like I said, we get these chances to be human or play other games. I mean, and it's not even a time constraint either. We don't have to like dedicate every spare moment to doing ththese things. It's just.
I'm fighting every urge to talk about other games because we like to talk about Destiny first. So I'm fighting every urge.
Oh, we do, yeah.
Because well, we do because you know a lot of people like want to hear us talk about Destiny. So,
yeah,
I mean, and thank you for that. If you are a new listener, thank you for tuning in. If you are a returning listener, thank you for coming back. Also, I did drop that frozen gummy bear picture for you guys because I saw that shit and I was like, oh, for real?
Okay.
Right.
I saw that and it's like,
I was just randomly looking through Instagram and I saw it and I was like, I messaged the artist. I'm like, hey guy, can I post this on Twitter? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. Thanks for asking. I'm like, no, thank you. Because I saw it and I was like, oh man, cool. It's like the wall from Game of Thrones. There's a gummy bear in it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But yeah. So anyhow, that's my little rant. I was considering like putting on Twitter, but it's like, I'm gonna save. It's actually a good thing because I'm much more settled because I was kind of in a weird place when I first thought of that little speech, and it was much longer winded and like grandiose, and now it's like, guys, just
be cool.
Just be cool. It's like if D2 never comes along to being the kind of game that you want to continue.
Hey.
Okay. I mean, look at the Halo series. There were plenty of people that stopped after Halo 2. Yeah.
Of the Halos, though, I was a real fan of Halo 2 and Halo 3. The only reason I stopped playing Halo was because by the point where we went into Halo ODST or Halo Reach, I was on my third or fourth Xbox, and I'm like, I'm done paying for consoles. I am done paying for consoles. I am going to something that has not broken yet. I'm grabbing a PS3.
Yeah, that's fair.
I had gone through 3 or 4 Xboxes.
Yeah, that's
I one brand spanking new. It Red Ring of Death. And I'm like, okay, so let's try and get a replacement. And they're like, well, you never filled out the form for the warranty. I'm like, I swear I did. So didn't get one from them. Had to buy a new one. Then I won one at a convention center that I was working at, which I was kind of surprised about. And that was the Halo 3 Xbox 360. That got stolen.
Oh, God.
I bought another one, and that one also red ringed, and I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'm done. If the console tells me don't play it, I'm done.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, there's a lot of people I've heard from that came from that community that they weren't fans of Halo to the end. I mean, they may have played Reach or ODST because it was Halo, but they weren't into it. It's like, half the people that play COD now. It's like, well, especially now. They're probably over half because it's like, yeah, it's COD, but it's like, don't feel stuck like that in Destiny. I mean, Destiny, I will always applaud. I mean, a lot of people, trash talk about Bungie on the huge differences that from D1 to D2. And because, of course, in their opinion, it was massively the wrong choices in a lot of areas for D2. But the way I see it, I mean, Bungie had quite a huge set of balls and decided not to be like COD or a lot of these games. And it's like, let's try something different. I mean, no opinion one way or the other, but I mean, just from that basis, that's kind of respectful in the FPS looter shooter genre,
right?
To actually have that as we're going to try this and see how it goes. And yeah, a lot of the community doesn't like it, and a lot of one thing I do love is when people keep mentioning the lowering or the smaller skill gap, and I keep thinking back, and it's like, it's a smaller skill gap now. It's like, really? Because when you had, one-hit shoulder charges, every time a Titan was sprinting around, you could just one-hit shoulder charge
Sticky
anything
nades.
in your way. Sticky nades that I get the jump on someone. I start pegging them. And they just happen to get the timing of their grenade toss just before they die and turn it into a trade. When I played everything properly. And they just get lucky. And it's like, that's a larger skill gap?
And then someone says, and I quote, somebody's response to that will be, well then, but you can't get your super back in 3 seconds after you used your super in competitive play. That's one of the arguments I've heard when I was mentioning that the skill gap isn't that, that small.
I know, it's like, what? I mean, yeah, you have a super game,
Cool. That's changing as well. They're adding maybe you'll get 2 supers a game.
Oh, like 25% faster. Yeah, 2 supers. Because I don't think I went into this detail, but yeah, with a 25% faster cooldown, what that means is your average player is going to get 2 supers a game. One near the mid and then one probably closer to the end. Mm-hmm. Your bad players, or if you're doing bad in a game, kind of like me, you'll definitely get 1 super a game no matter how bad you're doing, basically. And then those that can really pop off will probably get 3.
Yeah.
Because, but yeah, so I kind of, I do miss the power fantasy of being able to just pop super. And, that's like our mod, Converse. It was ridiculous in D1 because there he was, using Tarantella, and then one match he had, a 30-second super. From match start, he, went in against the other team, started murdering everything, and had a super within, I think it was 30 seconds. It might have been 45. But either way, it was sub 1 minute super at the start of the match.
Right.
And it's excuse me?
Was that the control match on...
Yeah, I think you were there.
Yeah, and he was like, I got my super, and we're like, what?
Yeah, because he was using Blade Dancer, and all of a sudden it's okay, popping super, and it's I got orbs over here, and it's excuse me?
Yeah.
So we just started.
I got orbs. Cool, I got a bubble? Thanks. That's what the conversation was. I got a bubble. I got orbs. I got bubble. Cool, thank you.
It's what the crap? Mm-hmm. It's what are you doing? But yeah, oh god, that's just insane. Oh, but yeah, so a lot of those, a lot of those moments are very, very fun, and I don't know, there is less. One thing there definitely is, there's less non-sweaty fun in D2.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. In order to get to a lot of these fun moments, you've got to try, because you got to think tactfully. You got to play as a team. You either stick with your team, or you're pretty much risking. That and flanking is a huge risk in D2 because, because of the way the game is built, a lot of people just learn to stick as a team a lot of the time. And a lot of the teams that don't stick as a team, for the ones that are successful, they end up being they swarm you from different angles. Because personally, I'm confused to the fact it's okay, you're just breaking off into multiple different areas, and you just so happen to be converging on me from 3 different angles. Mm-hmm. How are you doing? Is this supreme communication or just getting really lucky? But either way, it's it's harder to have the epic moments. You have to really push yourself to have these moments.
Yeah, but
that's what I feel.
When they happen, they're
oh, they're great.
Oh shit! You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like playing Bloodborne or a Souls game or something. You have to work at getting your moment.
Right.
But again, that's how I feel, and I'm weird because I'm definitely not that high. I'm not. I've never claimed it. I call myself a bad player. I'm probably more mid in reality, but I'm nowhere near high skill. Nowhere near. But yeah, so that's just my opinions from a fairly crappy player. And a lot of, we know a lot of, or I see a lot of people in the community higher skilled players of very different opinions, of course. But like I said, that's me and my basic freaking opinion. The crap am I looking at? This?
Sorry, I had to post a picture for the people listening. I will post this picture on our Twitter. I just put it in our Skype chat of what Pete's doing right now as we speak.
Oh wow! Yeah, there's a little fuzzball.
Yeah. Fun fact about this guy. We did a little research on his breed. One, they stop growing at 18 to 24 months. So,
oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he's only 4 months old.
He's that huge, and he's still got. Oh my God!
He has a year and a half at the max. A year and a half left to grow.
Good luck with that dog.
Yeah. So what he's doing for the listeners, he is wedging himself between a chair that I put against the door because I don't want him scratching at the door during the recording, and he somehow never mind. He moved it, and now he's trying to open the door with his mouth. We looked up that
this knob does something to open this.
Yeah, I've seen him do this. I've seen my human do this. How do I do this?
Oh my god!
And, must learn.
Well, what it is I think Bella used to be able to she could open doors because she was a service dog, and he's seen her do it, and he's like, "Okay, she did it. I'm trying to figure out this shit." But
so don't worry, I got this.
I'll let myself out. I know there's a treat out there. So I know that bag of treats are somewhere out there. I'm just trying to find out where you put it. All right? Yeah, I'll find it. But
I'll sniff it out.
Yeah. Also, they're like problem solving smart. Like they like to solve problems. They like to be challenged because his new favorite thing is, I know there's food in this bag. I'm just trying to figure out how I can get this bag open without you finding me getting the bag. Because yesterday,
must be sneaky.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like a kid. He's quiet. He's doing something. But he's with the loss that we had, and I like to say again, thank you to everyone for all their kind words and awesome positivity that they sent my way. I'll say that again because even still, I'm getting messages like, "Yo, bro, if you need me, text me. Here's my number." And I'm like, "All right," well, and there he is scratching the door like he always does. But
sounds like the door's losing.
Oh, it's yeah. Well, I mean, on his hind legs, he can reach a standard light switch. Like popped up on his hind legs.
All right,
he can reach a standard light switch, which is I can
see that being issues in the future.
Yeah.
If you can figure out a door, just all of a sudden click.
Right.
You little.
Exactly. Hey, guy, you're playing too much. I know this light switch controls everything that you're playing, and I want your attention. Click.
Oh god.
I want love now.
Listen. Those
pets. Give them.
He's going to have a terrible week, though. I know he has a vet appointment coming up, and he has to get shots. So he's going to have a pretty terrible week, and he has no idea. But this week in Pete, I guess this week with Pete would be a better term for that because he is he gets up something. He gets up super early, gets me up super early, so now I don't have an excuse to sleep till 1:00. So that's helpful. But he gets up and he's like, "All right," and the next thing I know, I look over and he's taking a nap, and I'm like, "Oh, I can take a nap too, yes." And then I wake up with him in my face, like, "What are you doing? What you doing, guy? You sleeping?"
It's like I was trying to rest.
Yeah, he don't care. But
no, my little dog does. She sleeps pretty much all day long.
Must be nice,
right?
But he found my Dungeons and Dragons miniatures that I had.
Oh no!
The OG like pewter miniatures.
Oh no!
I have a bunch. Let's put it that way. I have a shit ton, painted and unpainted. Because I used to be into that painting them and stuff.
Yeah.
And he found the box because he likes to, he's teething, which I have another 3 months of that. And he's chewing on everything. And on chewing everything, I'm like, what is that he's chewing on? I look over and he had the box. I don't know where it was. He found it magically. The guy can find things. And I was like, what you got there, buddy? And I opened it. I'm like, no, you can't eat these. These will kill you.
Oh my god. Yeah, Pete's such a handful.
Yeah, but he's going to be well trained. You got to train him.
Oh, of course. I mean,
he's got he's got to call the wild. What can I say?
Exactly.
Hey, I love you, buddy. You're being kind of an asshole, though.
Like we
I
said,
love you, but
Yeah, I love you, but that's what a lot of people feel about Destiny. I love you, but
yeah.
I love you, but bring me back my power weapons and make I want to feel powerful again.
I know. All right, here's because I've seen one opinion. It's like we wanted better primaries, so what did they give us? Double the power ammo. It's like, was not the one of the complaints of D2 that you wanted to feel powerful? Power ammo will help that. I mean, just saying. I mean, yeah, it's true that like a lot of D1, nerfs did not make sense. Oh, we have a couple very powerful exotic hand cannons. Well, hand cannons suck now. Mm-hmm. Great. Zero's regime was very strong. They murdered auto rifles until D2. Mm-hmm. Well, we saw a brief glimpse of greatness in Doctrine of Passing, but of course,
that was one.
Everyone decided to use that. And
that was like, one.
Yep, dead now. It's like now auto rifles are finally back to where they were in D2. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it took them 3 years to come back from
something like that.
The shadow of Suros. Yeah, and it's like they're not decreasing time to kill, but it's like they are adjusting time to kill on things. It's just they're not decreasing the overall time to kill, which they've mentioned. It's like they wanted to balance around precision autos, which a lot of people are saying are meta. And then a lot of people are like, well, the meta's not going to change. It's like, do you not read the TWAB?
Ever?
At all? It's like, do you just listen to these YouTubers and Twitch streamers about their opinions?
Yes.
And they just magically skip over certain things? Like, the time to kill isn't changing. It's like, pulse rifles? If you've read the TWAB, or if you've listened to this show, because we've read the TWAB, pulse rifles are probably going to be pretty strong come Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait for that. Not that I'm, I'm probably still going to
I haven't been a fan of pulse rifles in D2. And I know it's because, but in D1, there were a very select few, one of them being a exotic, which I'm sure we all know of, that I did enjoy. And my Red Death, I'm going to say, was my favorite pulse rifle, just because there was no stopping it.
Exactly.
There literally was no way to stop it. I went into a match on D1 and I had 34 kills, I want to say, and it was all just with that one gun.
Nice.
And you can't do that in D2.
No. I mean, it's I think the highest amount of kills I've had in D2 is 26. I think. Either 26 or 28. It was somewhere up there, but I can't even remember the situations, but it's like, it might have been mayhem, to be honest. I mean, but I mean, I'm normally around 20, 18, maybe.
So my highest overall was 29. And that was at a 4.14 KD efficiency, I have to say. But
you're definitely higher skilled than me.
No, I'm not. That was a lucky match. That was a lucky match.
Those matches where you can touch greatness.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some matches where I am carrying a team, and there are other times when I'm like, hey, I got one kill. Yay.
Okay, no, you're... Because my biggest issue in trying to improve, it was in D1, it's still in D2. My biggest issue somehow is consistent. Let's see.
Yeah,
I don't understand how these higher skill people can just always be on. And if they're not on, it's still 3 times the amount of kills I can get, and it's how?
Wait, that's an off day? What?
Yeah, it's you still died under 5 times. It's like, how do you do this? Because
my
like I said,
highest KD in D2 is 11.5. And the only reason it's an 11.5 is I jumped off the map once. It was Iron Banner. I think it was the first or second Iron Banner in D2. And I was playing with a buddy of mine from the current meta clan. And it was a massacre. It was 100-27 for control, and in Iron Banner it was 100. And I had 23 kills by myself, and I got killed once, and then I misjudged a jump and I fell off the map. And had I not, I would have had a 23 KD spread. But it was a massacre. And I was surprised that, the game didn't, call it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, we're at 70, they're at 25, we're at 90, they're at 26, we're at 100, they're at 27, game over. It's like, okay, it wasn't even called until we actually beat them senseless, and I felt so bad.
You're like, was the matchmaking trying to prove a point to them?
Yeah. Mercy can.
But I just looked at this score. I'm like, I have to save it. But the mercy rule is weird in 2. It's the one team has to be at like, what is it, 40 or something, and the other team has to be under like 7.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
because if they can hit like 12, then they're basically stuck.
So sorry for your luck, buddies.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, guys. This is going to happen. Welcome to the train.
Exactly. Choo choo. Oh, but yeah, it's. But yeah, I mean,
going back to the whole. It's funny how you said it was the Red Death was your favorite pulse in Destiny 2. Your favorite pulse exotic. Mine was the Bad Juju.
Bad Juju was a great gun.
Yes.
I absolutely loved it. When you got String of Curses going, it was a powerhouse.
It was.
My issue, because I am such a forward, tanky kind of player.
Yeah.
And any game, tabletop, D&D, whatever, I've always played the front row tank. Like, I am here to absorb everything. Y'all can cast your spells or arrows. I will take all the damage. It's cool.
Yeah.
And I can't do that in Destiny. And I need to program myself not to do that in Destiny.
Yeah.
That's a hard habit to get out of. It really is.
In D1, Red Death let me do that.
Yeah.
Death would be like, oh, hey, as long as you're getting a kill every so-and-so, feel free to take the damage.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yeah, it just so happened to also be like the only pulse of its archetype that with its ballistics could effectively 2-tap, and it's like, all right, so it's basically the strongest in its archetype. It allows you to do dumb stuff.
It had
like,
Outlaw, so that you could just instantly on a headshot. And, when you got that headshot, here's a chunk of health. And initially it was like, 75% of your health that you would get back? And then they kicked it back to like 25 to 30%, I think. I'm not sure exactly. But it was still, it's a chunk of health.
Yeah, it was something dumb like that.
Yeah, and generally, even with the 6v6 playstyle, you would come across 1, maybe 2, 1v1, 1v2.
Yeah. And
when you would come up against that 1v2, you kill that one, you know you're going to get that second guy. Or at least trade on it.
Yeah, exactly. Because, it became like... it basically like reset pretty much, especially in the early days. It's like, here's 2 people, tap. All right, this dude's down. I'm at least near full health, and this dude's like fresh. So here we go. It was a great tool for turning a 2v1 into like almost a true 1v1.
Right. Let me see. I'm going through my screenshots here because I save all of my high-scoring games and then I filter through them later. Destiny. There it is. 34 kills with not bad juju. Red Death at a 4.25 KD spread.
Nice.
Yeah. So that Red Death was my baby when it came to pulse rifles. And Bad Juju, second favorite pulse rifle. But for me, I couldn't enjoy a pulse rifle unless it was an exotic. I don't know why.
That's fair. It took, for me, it took the grasp. It's like as soon as I got like the grasp roll I wanted, like I took it into PvP, and I had started putting in work with that thing. And it wasn't even like a complete god roll either, which was like the most beautiful thing. It was something I like settled on because it was the best of what I got. Because it had because it was one of the few ones I got that had like counterbalance, I believe. But it didn't have a stability perk in its middle tree. It's like the best thing I used was it was hand loaded, I believe. But yeah, that combo, like I said, I just put it on and I just started.
It just worked.
Yeah, I just like started putting in like this amazing work with it, and it's like, wow, I'm actually doing good now. It's like
doing good.
Holy crap!
That's one thing I can say I miss about the random rolls. That like, yes, there's going to be like what the community agrees is a god roll. But there's going to be like that weird, like my Shadow Price. My Shadow Price had really weird perks, but it worked for me, you know? And I remember I told Dez, and Dez was like, that's really not an optimal roll for you, buddy. And then we played a couple matches, he was like, you know what? Use it.
Forget it.
It worked with my play style. It just synergized with me. It might have been the fact that it dropped after 40 fucking ranks in Vanguard. It might have been a whole bunch of things that just synchronicity, you know. It might have been Roxanne played as it dropped somewhere in the world. It was just some weird thing. But it worked so well. And honestly, like I say all the time, like I don't want to go back and play Destiny 1. You know, I don't go backwards in time. I go forwards and stuff. And I'm like, but I really miss that fucking gun. I really do. I'm thinking like, man, I really miss my Shadow Price because that gun was fucking super good. But it's
the thing.
Yeah,
because I could definitely agree with that. And just to say, actually, recently I finally had to delete Destiny because I download way too many games because it's like a few PlayStation Plus titles I'll go ahead and download. I finally started running out of room on my 2 terabyte hard drive. So it's like, well, see you, Destiny. I mean, I hadn't gone back to play it, and it's like, yep, you're gone now.
Thanks for remembering.
I have just the 500 gigabyte in my PS4 still, and I'm somehow managing with just that.
Well, as soon as I got the 2 terabyte, I started going like a little crazy. Because like I said, like every PS Plus title that I might play, I downloaded.
You did, yeah.
And then, even though I hadn't played most of them,
you had them.
I still have them. But yeah, so yeah, like getting the 2 terabyte, like kind of, and I'm finally having to go, okay, stop downloading crap.
Yeah, I'm sitting on, let's see. I'm sitting on the whole Jack and Daxter trilogy because I bought that for myself for my birthday. Nice. Shadow of War, which if anyone is a Middle-earth fan, I would highly recommend that game. And the first one, Shadow of Mordor. I have Skyrim because I just can't get away from Bethesda.
Yep.
The Division, which very fun game, and I've been using that to fill up a bit of my time from D2. D2, obviously, and then Grand Theft Auto.
Oh my god, it's that actually, like I saw a comment that actually triggered me. Like it is very rare to get under my skin, but I saw some, it's like they had finally announced that they were making a Division sequel.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this, Yeah, I saw this post. It's like, this is the D2 we deserve. And it's like, oh my God. Are you kidding me?
The Division 2, long division.
It's like, are you kidding me? Like, oh my God. Yeah, that I like forbade myself from posting anything on social media for like pretty much that day, because it's like, somehow I was afraid somehow I would turn something into this like long tirade, because it's like, whew.
And then
that one got me. Ooh.
When you read that, you heard in your head. Oh, go ahead, Ray.
Oh, that one got him heated.
Yeah, that one got me.
Des, in your head, you heard the baking drop.
It's like,
sometimes I hear that in like everyday life. Like I'll just be sitting there talking, and it would be like the Kill Bill, wow, woo, wow, that bit when right before she starts killing people, and right before I let it out, like I always hear it. The tsunami and the thunder and the tsunami are coming, and I'm like, I should probably calm down.
Exactly, it's like,
calm down.
Deep breaths, come on.
Focus your chi. Woosah. Don't you fuck this up, Buster. Don't you fuck this up.
But yeah, good news that we didn't announce on, like, Division 2 is coming out. Yeah. That should be
pretty... I didn't like it. Still yet to complete Division. But I have been enjoying it, so I'll probably end up getting Division 2.
I'm going to wait. I'm still like, I've enjoyed Division, because even when it came out, it's like I like hardcore, like did like everything, even though there were like a bunch of busted systems, things were hard. I went through, it's like my first character, I found every piece of intel, I found every side quest thing, like,
oh, of course, because
on my first character,
as gamers we become collectors and hunters, and we must get everything.
Yeah, I mean, I am a bit of a completionist when it comes to certain things. Division, like I said, it was kind of bare bones when it came out, so I gave it that. So it's like, you know what, they have a bunch of little collectible things, and even though there was no purpose to get them all at the time, it's like, all right, this is something to do in the game, and I did it. Yeah, it was like I kept track with it, and like I said, despite trying to dig themselves out of that hole. And finally, like, they just hit the stride, and it's like, it's a super fun game now, and I just hope that they're capable of taking like a lot of what they learned into Division 2, because I just don't, because if they still follow in Bungie's footsteps, because I mean, Division at launch and Destiny at launch were very comparable games with their issues, highly comparable. But of course, with Division's issue was the fact that Destiny was already out and was becoming a better game. So it's like people went back to that. Right. If they like I said, if they follow in Bungie's footsteps and Division 2 is like lacking in any way, that might be irreversible damage to the IP. Mm-hmm. Might be. I mean, it's going to be an even harder hole for them to dig out of.
I got called a contrarian this week because they were talking about the Division. I was like, I just didn't like it, and they were like, "You're being such a contrarian." I'm like, no, I played it till I beat the campaign. I got max level. I did a bunch of the Dark Zone. Hell, the guys that called me a contrarian played with me, and I'm like, I just didn't like it. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't. Yeah. It didn't tickle the ivories. You know what I mean? It wasn't. Yeah. It's just not my style. But and the guy was like, "But you like Paladins," and I'm like, "Really? You're gonna throw that in my face like it's not a good game?" But I'm like, "Oh, you play over?" I'm like, "What's your main in Overwatch?" And he was like, "Dude, Tracer." I'm like, gotcha. Normally, whenever somebody says, "Oh, you play Paladins," they throw it in my face. I'm like, "What's your main in Overwatch?" Just like in conversation, and they always slip and say it, and I'm like, "That's why."
Also, major props to I think one of the higher ups at Hi-Rez that actually posted on Twitter the hilarious similarities between new Overwatch hero Brigitte and their own
Bridget
hero.
is what I'm going to call her because.
Oh yeah, I definitely understand. Like I was going with Bridget myself, but it didn't mention it as Brigitte. Or
Brigitte or whatever.
Yeah.
Brigitte. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Brigida.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is hilarious because it is like one of the final. It is one of those things. Is like Paladins is always has his reputation of being the Overwatch clone, and which I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. But finally, like, this one piece came out. And I was like, I even mentioned it's like, yeah, Bridget kind of looks like Ash, and she has a rally in which Ash has rallied the flag. Like, wait a minute. But yeah, so this Hi-Rez guy pretty much made this like side by side image like on Twitter. It's like, would I be the pot calling the kettle black here if I were to mention these similarities? And like he even like had a it was like Hi-Rez Stu. I think his name was Stu. But so he actually like put up a Twitter poll. It's like pot calling the kettle black, or kettle calling the pot black. There's stew in the kettle, or stew smoking pot, were like the options.
Fucking great.
Yeah, and he was actually interviewed about it, and it's like it was a post made in fun because of Paladin's inescapable reputation, and it was just simply the fact that they all had their roots in like Team Fortress 2 anyway. So it's like, but yeah, that's like I said, massive props because Hi-Rez as a studio that like following them on social media is downright hilarious.
It is quite fun
because their executive producer Chris actually responding to because of course they have the much like Destiny did, they have the fake Twitter accounts that mimic the lore of the game. You actually have like Hi-Rez Chris like responding to one of these like character Twitters. It's like that's not something devs normally do. I mean, they normally just kind of let them be and give them their own space, and here's a guy like actually interacting with them.
Now, now, before we move on, Des, because I know what's coming up next, Reythos, why don't you give everyone who doesn't know you a little synopsis of who you are, what you do for the community, what you like to do, if you stream, that kind of thing. And then I have a couple questions for you.
Sure. I am a very small-time streamer. I used to do a lot more streaming a couple of years back. It's kind of died down over the years, mainly just because, life gets in the way and whatnot. I am a huge PvE guy, and I was a rather efficient raid Sherpa in D1. It got to the point where I could grab anybody and run them through any raid and get them their flawless raider. And I did that mostly with Crota because who wouldn't?
That's how I got it.
Right. But it got to the point where I was doing a lot of different PvE events and runs. And my favorite thing that I was doing was getting people their exotics, particularly the exotic quests. So I would grab somebody and be like, yo, you got this sword? No? Let's go get you a Raise Lighter. Let's go get you a Dark Drinker. Let's go get you a Boltcaster. That was my favorite thing to run. And I would do it in a heartbeat just right now. If anybody needed it, I would just grab them and let's get you that sword. Because to me, just the thrill of going through a quest line and getting that exotic was really entertaining in D1. I admit Danfinity, shout out to him, on the DTR streams about a year or so ago. And
that's where I met you as well.
Yep, you met me there in DTR. But I was just bored one day, and I got on Twitch. I'm like, let's see who's doing what or what's going on. And I saw Destiny Tracker Network was on, and I'd stumbled across the website before because anybody who played Destiny probably knew about the website. Yeah. And I saw the Live Now beacon was on, and I'm like, oh, let's go see who's streaming. And it was Monkey Slapper. We had a bit of fun. And then I came back the very next day, and it was Danfinity. Him and I hit it off, and he was like, yo, Jay, the content manager of DTR, he's like, you got to get this kid in here. So I became part of the DTR team, and I was still doing Sherpa carries and Sherpa runs. And when they did the remaster of like Vault of Glass and the whole Gorgon maze, kill 'em all kind of thing, I was doing Sherpas of that for DTR on streams and whatnot. But since then, it's just been, a slow transition over to D2. Still running mostly PvE, not so much PvP, just because I'm not a big competitive player, which is why I'm stuck in the hole I'm in right now and grinding for competitive wins in D2. But yeah, that's what I mainly do. I have no problem grabbing a fire team and say, hey, let's go tackle a challenge. Let's go get you this exotic from this planet. Let's run you through on Nessus and get you your exotic gun and exotic or legendary sidearm,
So with Bungie likes to bring back old maps and
yes.
redesign them. What's a map from Destiny 1 that you would like to see brought forward?
I am going to maybe be unpopular here, but First Light, I love the big maps, and I miss them. I was a troll, and I will admit this. I was the worst when it came to, hey, big game map with vehicles? Okay, let's do it. I remember a match specifically where this kid got a pike, and I headshot him off of it, and I took the pike, and I'm using it, and I'm just wrecking. I'm just going around. I'm killing everybody with it, and I'm not dying. And this is just because I got used to being that junk kid with the ghost in Halo. You hop on it, and you just start melting everybody. It didn't matter what they were in. And he came back with another pike. I jumped off mine, headshot him again, and I took it, and I blew up my original one that I stole from him. And then he comes over on foot trying to kill me, and I kept killing him over and over, and I just stayed in one spot of the map, and he just kept coming over trying to kill me, and it just never worked. And I love being that junk kid on a vehicle that's just like, nope, 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 you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. So I would love a big map where we could play with vehicles again, in Crucible particularly.
Yeah. I can see that coming with Iron Banner 6v6.
Right? Because they're bringing in the 6v6
for that could be something.
Totally see that.
Yeah.
That would be hilarious. Just, you know what? Let's give some of you guys tanks. Let's give some of you guys whatever. Just have at it. Just have it be a brawl and let it just be fun.
Des, do you have
maybe have it like there's one Drake on the map. Everybody bum rushes it because it's in the middle of the field.
Ooh.
Whichever team wins gets it. But then have on the edges of the map, all the other vehicles that spawn in. And so obviously those teams are just going to be rushing for any other vehicle to destroy that Drake. And then, hey, the Drake's gone. Guess what? It respawns, and the fight's all over for it again.
Nice.
Des, do you have a question for him before we move on? Because I have one more. That's just correction, I have two more.
I guess simply, honestly, one thing we normally ask, where'd you get your screen name from? What's that story?
Alrighty, so Reythos is a old name for me. Back when I was in junior high, I had stumbled across J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, and I was stolen by it right away. And I was like, I have to write something like this. I have to create a fictitious world where the heroes are going through and they're just kicking ass and taking names. And I had created 4 elemental heroes, essentially, and they were going to rid this world of the darkness / evil / whatever. Because, we're all gamers. We've all read the stories, and we've all thought of, hey, this could be my own adventure. And Reythos was one of the 4 elementals that was going off on this quest.
Nice.
There was one of the other 3 that I used quite heavily, but when I got my Xbox and it's like, oh, create a gamer tag, I was like, you know what, let's switch it up. And I created Reythos, and he's just stuck. So that's even my Xbox gamer tag, which I don't have an Xbox, but the account still exists.
Yeah.
So if I ever do get an Xbox, I could just log into it and we'll be good. Yeah. But Reythos has been my new name from the characters I created way back when.
What element was he? What element was he?
Reythos was actually the fire element. Not my first choice. My first choice was Kieran, who was the earth element. We also had Ligor, who was the water element, and then Gornir, who was the air element.
I'm glad he answered my other secondary question off the top.
I know, right?
So glad you did that.
So what are the other names?
Yeah, I'm sitting here debating. It's like, should I ask about the other name? I want to know about the other names.
Yeah,
like,
I was
who's
curious.
the rest of them?
I've made full on ideas for all these guys, and there were other elements that I've played with, and they've kind of come into the storyline, and I haven't written the story at all in forever. But it's just the world of fantasy still will exist in my mind, even if it's not in ink on paper or typed up somewhere. It'll always exist, and so I'll always have this list of characters that I can kind of shuffle through and use at will.
We'll always have Reythos.
Yeah. So Reythos is one that he's just kind of stuck, and it's just worked.
I always liked the Conan series growing up as a kid, and in retrospect, realizing that you probably shouldn't, as a kid, get into Conan because it's really dark.
Yeah,
it's real dark.
Yeah,
but my like I said, I have 2 more questions for you before we move on to the other games and RNG talk. What podcasts do you listen to, or even do you listen to podcasts?
I do listen to podcasts. I actually listen to the RNG cast, which is absolutely amazing, and anyone who is listening to this should continue to listen, because
that wasn't even a setup. I was actually asking the question, but thank you for the plug, sir.
I was not expecting us to actually be on that list, but all right.
It is. The RNG cast is definitely on my list. I listen to Focus Fire Chat, Guardian Radio. Yeah. I listen to, obviously I listen to the Destiny Tracker podcast, and occasionally I'm on it. One other that I do listen to is the Destiny Massive Breakdowns, which
all friends of the shows that you've mentioned so far.
I haven't listened to the Massive Breakdowns anytime recently, just because when I'm at work, if I start listening to a podcast, I'm going to get distracted. So I just listen to music primarily. But yeah, those are all ones that I enjoy.
Do you listen to any non-Destiny podcasts?
No,
okay.
I don't.
Okay.
People have told me that I should maybe get into what is it, Night Vale, but I don't think that's something that would catch my interest.
Okay. And you mentioned Dungeons and Dragons, and funny you should mention that because Des is currently, I think, world building would be the best way to describe.
Working on things.
Yeah, working on things to run a campaign with us, and admittedly, I am a Pathfinder player, and I'm just now looking into 5e, and we were trying to figure out, like, should we do 5e, should we do Pathfinder, and I'm like, Pathfinder, and everybody else is like, 5e, and then I was like, I don't know anything about 5e because I don't listen to any podcasts about 5e. And Des was like, I knew you were going to say that. And then I started listening to Critical Role.
I've heard of Critical Role.
Yeah, it's, basically what would happen if a bunch of voice actors played Dungeons and Dragons. Matthew Mercer's in it. And,
a bunch of popular voice actors, not just what I mean.
When I looked up who they were and what they
exactly,
like,
it's like,
I know every single character.
Right.
And then I messaged Des and I was like, I'm in for 5e, and he was like, you found a podcast, didn't you? I'm like, yes. I didn't want to say yes, but I was like, yes.
But at the same time, you're like, yeah.
Maybe I just wanted to learn a new system, and he was like, you found a podcast. But what class do you play?
Like I said, I'm a tank. Okay. I'm more than happy to share some of my characters' escapades if you guys are willing to listen.
Oh, that's why I asked.
Mainly because I am stupid lucky when it comes to D&D. One thing right now, actually, I'm in the middle of doing a Star Wars campaign for tabletop, and my character, I'm a Zabrak, so I look like Darth Maul, but nice. I am like a Han Solo version of Darth Maul, nice. with a little bit of Jedi powers. And in our escapades, I had taken a rocket launcher and blown up an Inquisitor of the Empire, and I've stolen a lightsaber. So I have a red lightsaber, even though I'm not entirely a Jedi.
You're Jedi adjacent?
Yeah, I'm Jedi adjacent. And we just had 2 weeks ago our session. This takes place post Order 66, so there's not a lot of Jedi around, and they're being hunted. Yeah. And the Empire's trying to recruit Jedi in a way to turn them to Sith so that they could, own the galaxy a little bit faster.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And my party has one adjacent Jedi and one actual Jedi. And we're thrown into this pit on a Star Destroyer, and 3 other not wholesome Jedi and not holy Sith come walking in with lightsabers ready to fight us to a duel to the death. Mm-hmm. And my character convinces the big guy who has a staff lightsaber that is the size of a small tree trunk for a hilt to hand it over because I wanted to take a look at it. So it's a great saber, and if any of you guys have seen the Star Wars Clone Wars, there's one general who uses 2 of these, and he's got 4 arms or whatnot. But I convinced this guy to trade his great saber with mine because I wanted to take a look at it, and then I started attacking him with it. So I wasn't told. I wasn't totally being a good guy at that point, but during the entire fight, I was not hit once, and virtually every other hit on him was a critical.
Jeez.
Just with my luck of the dice. And the DM was getting frustrated as hell. And it was hilarious because I now have this giant lightsaber that I'm not proficient with, but I can use because it is a lightsaber. And I am just massacring this character with 200 plus hit points. And he can't even lay a finger on me.
So I'm thinking like greatsword compared to a longsword type?
Think more like if you took 2 claymores and you stacked them on top of each other.
The Berserk sword from Berserker.
Yeah, okay. Berserk sword or the Buster sword from Final Fantasy, something like that.
Hey,
and I'm using that. And I'm using that against this guy with insane health, and I am not even taking a scratch. And the one time he's about to do damage, I activate negate energy so the blade passes right through me without dealing jack. And the DM is like, "You've got to be kidding me."
Part of the fun.
But that's
sorry, go ahead.
But that's just one of the things that I am just insanely lucky for.
Part of the fun of being a player is like, because you know the DM's goal is to kill you.
Oh yeah,
it's
for
to
sure.
have fun,
essentially.
But it's to smash. It's yeah. I want to smash you. I want to see like what your second character is. I want to see what your third character is. And for the longest time,
I don't make extra characters. I've never had to make an extra character, which is hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah. So one of my first D&D campaigns, I was a lawful good dwarf fighter who befriended a blue dragon who is lawful evil, but because he's lawful, we both have to keep our word. He hired me to kill his brother, which I did. And then he gave me a Ring of Dragon friendship, which means no dragon will attack me outright without being provoked. And he enchanted it so that I could talk to him telepathically and call on him if needed. So the DM essentially handed me an item that says, "Hey, summon dragon."
Nice.
Your DMs are very nice. Let me tell you.
I roll insanely well. And one of my other campaigns, once again, like I said, I'm a tank. I'm a dwarf fighter. It's one of my favorite builds. I encountered a cursed forge, and it was cursed by a demon, that I brought back to life because the forge was smoldering out. I bring the forge back to life, revive a demon, and he reaches into my chest, grabs my heart, and says, "You work for me now." And I'm like, "Okay." Hands me a sword that says, go get me souls. I'm kind of weak right now. So my character walks around with this soul-stealing sword, and one of our alternate characters is like, "Hey, can I see that?" I'm like, "You really don't want to touch it." So they tried to pickpocket it from me and died. Because anybody but me will instantly be sucked away to this demon's realm. And I come across a recent battlefield, and I just pull out my sword and I start poking bodies. So I'm walking around, and the DM's like, "Are you doing what I think you're doing?" I'm like, "He did not specify the condition of the souls."
That's true.
So I'm just walking around poking everything once, and later on down the line, the dwarf disappears in a puff of fire. no joke, gets summoned back to his realm, and he is doing great. And he goes, I've never had such a wonderful employee. Here's this other great item. Go have fun. I come back, and the party's like, what happened to you? I'm like, first of all, I need water because I'm not used to the heat. And secondly, I just got promoted. So my escapades in Tankland are very fun. And I am one of those characters that isn't necessarily expected, but when things go down, they become hilarious. One tabletop session, we were playing a game of Shard, which the people that were running it are very anthropomorphic friendly. We'll say furries. And the Shard campaign is essentially a furry D&D.
Okay.
So I'm playing this. They red-shirted me in, which I had no problem with. I was playing some sort of a snake dude on a ship of pirates. And the entire ship is talking mutiny of the captain. And I decide to play in character for a second and smash my hands down on the table because I'm kicking open the door to the captain's cabin. And I shout at the top of my lungs at a 3-foot table with 6 people sitting at it, Captain, they're planning a mutiny! Everybody just went silent and jumped like 4 feet back from the table, scared to death. But I figured, in character would be the best way to deliver this message. I instantly leveled up because I scared the shit out of the DM. And even though I was a red shirt, they went ahead and I never died as the red shirt. So I just kind of existed and I became the new captain of the ship. So yeah, me in tabletop games is very interesting.
I play, I can't believe you've never had a character death. That's amazing, number one, because I've had several characters die.
But every single time, I've somehow come out on top, which is hilarious.
And I generally play Paladins, because I just think you always need that smite. Smite's always a great thing to have, just in case, unless you're playing an evil campaign, then I play a bard. The coolest thing I've ever did with the bard character is we were attacking a city, and the city was well defended, and, we were on a flat, open plain, and I was hasted, quickened, and there's another thing that they added back in Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition, and they opened fire with a volley of arrows, and the barbarian was like, I'm about to do something. I was like, hold on, I got this. And I just started dancing with my two rapiers, smashing the...
hitting arrows.
Yeah, the way I described it is I wanted to dance, and as I dance and sing towards the city, I want to smash the arrows out of the air with my sabers. And the DM was like, it's going to be a high performance check. And I'm like, do you know who you're talking to?
Nat 20.
I built this guy for this to be performance. Like, I'm not good in combat, but I'm a skill monkey. And he was like, all right, man, roll, see what happens. And I rolled, and just like you called it, it was a nat 20, and I had like a plus 29 to my performance or something with like all the charisma and all that. And he went, huh.
Yep, you do it.
How do you want to, and he just looked at me and says, how do you want to do this? And I just described it, the elegance between the steps, and as the arrows were hitting the ground that I didn't take apart, they were landing, and I was stepping in between them as they were landing, like I knew where they would be. And he was just like, dude, have a hero point. And I'm like, yes. Because hero points, I don't know if you guys play, Des, do you prescribe to the hero points when you GM?
Considering this will be my first venture as a DM.
Oh, okay. Well, then let me explain. Basically, you did something super cool. And a lot of people use, well, now in 5e, I've heard them, they use it for advantage. You know, roll 2 d20s and take the best. Or you can put an opponent at a disadvantage. But when we were playing, it was, if you use a hero point for an attack roll before you roll, you get a +8 to that roll. If you use it against, an opponent, they miss. Clean out. So, you know, if you were fighting the big boss at the end and they roll a crit, you can drop a hero point. Mm-hmm. But you had to use it before the hit or miss was called. So obviously you knew what your armor class was. So, oh shit, he rolled a 20 hero point, and then it's basically, you know, you slip through the blow or whatever. And there was a couple other ones, like if you had 4, you could negate death. Like if you were going to die, it would bring you back to a hit point. You know,
right.
So it was like a get out of jail free card, basically. And like that, he was just like, you know, if you did something super cool, they would give you hero points. And he was like, that might have been the coolest thing ever. And he was like, roll a bluff check. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm a bard, dude. I'm good at this. And I rolled the bluff check, and it was 30, I think. You know, I rolled like a 10 or a 15, and he was just like, well, the entire city that just attacked you is now shaken and scared and he rolls, and he's like, oh, cool, 10 rounds. And I'm like, they're done, you know that, right? And then I heard the barbarian behind me go, I rage. And I'm like, no, they're really done. And then the wizard was like, I'm going to cast a Greatened Enhanced Fireball at the wall. And I'm like, you know they're going to go down. He's like, I'm well aware. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you just did the coolest thing anybody probably has ever seen in their entire life. What do you think they're going to do? And I'm like, they're probably shitting their pants. And he's like, there you go, Chief. So.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And it was super. I'm in the long run, I'm super excited to play this game, Des, if you didn't know already.
My DMs have used hero points and god coins.
Okay.
Which are essentially a wish of this has to happen. I'm going to use a god coin. And I have had at most 12 god coins.
Jesus.
Because my characters have pulled things from the brink, and he's like, you get a god coin for that. So hold on to that whenever you want and use it freely. But he never kept track that he kept giving me them, and I never was spending them because everyone else was trying to use them like constantly or immediately. And I'm very conservative for my loot, which is weird. It got to the point in one of my campaigns where I had these 12 god coins, but I also had something in the vicinity of 200 platinum, which is
nice.
200 platinum, which is an insane amount of money. Not to mention jewels, artifacts, etc. But
one platinum is like 100 gold, right? Is that
one platinum is 100 gold.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
So, yeah, you're right. But I had 200 platinum and these 12 god coins, and I'm like, and we're near the end of the campaign. And so I decided, you know what, I might as well use them because I'm not going to have a chance to use them any other time. And I used all 12 god coins at the same time to cause the entire enemy army to implode and die. And then I just bought the kingdom from the king. And I became the new ruler. And I retired. Happily. At the end of this, I think it was 8-month campaign, I pulled this off, and the DM's like, I had this huge boss fight planned out, and you just made him all implode. I'm like, yep. It went down like that.
The way my old GM used GM, whatever phrase you use, used to say, it's like, if you're past like 10th level, you're a god to most people.
Yep, pretty much.
He's like, wizards have the hardest time up till about 6th level, and he's like, once you get your like 4th spell slot, he's like, think about it. At level 4, you can throw a fireball. No one in the you know what I mean? You very rarely see someone throw a goddamn fireball, and I'm like, that's true. And he's like, just think about how tanky you know what you can do at 4th level, and I'm like, oh god, yeah, you're right. I can. I add my charisma to my saving throws, and he's like, what's your charisma right now? I'm like, well, I mean, my bonus is +4. And he's like, so what's your will save? I'm like, well, it's +8, +9, whatever it was. You know, I might be wrong with the numbers. Somewhere, some D&D historian is like, that's wrong. But
they don't stack. They don't do this. Well, whatever, dude.
Yeah, divine grace, baby, divine grace.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's like, high level D&D is just what do you think you can do? Yeah, you can do it. Because if you think about it, if your skill is +20, there's nothing.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna unless you roll a 1.
Guaranteed.
Unless you roll a 1, or the DC is super high. You know, that's just how it works. And he's like, this is my favorite part. And I mean, I played a campaign up to, I think the highest I've ever gotten was 14, and 14 is just ridiculous.
Nice.
Plus level 4.
At that point, it's like, where's the nearest dragon? Let's go kill it.
Oh yeah. I'm having, you know, especially if you don't multi-class. You know, you straight level 14 wizard. You're like, geez, I can do anything. Okay, cool. You got a cleric. I want to use my healing. All right, what do you want to do? I'm just going to heal everybody
at the same time. Yeah. For one spell, and it works.
I have 700 hit points to give away. What's everybody's hit?
Who needs it?
Yeah, who needs it? And I can give it to somebody within 70 feet. Huh?
Yeah.
And if you're
it's like
you're
that's
undead,
the entire tabletop.
And if you're undead, it hurts you. What? Huh? God, I love. And I remember saying the first time I played, God, I love D&D. It's just it's just one of those fun things. You're just like, okay, cool, man. It's whatever you need to do, boss. You just go ahead and run it.
It's like you successfully do whatever it is that you so desire. Yep. It just happens.
Mm-hmm. What do you want to do? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I figure that could probably happen. So yeah, we'll say it does.
So, fellas, what other game? Well, I know what it does. I know what you want to bring up. But Reythos, what other games do you play? You mentioned.
So, I play Diablo 3 actually.
Nice.
I play Skyrim. Recently, though, I've been on a little bit of a nostalgia kick. So I got the Jack and Daxter series on PS4, and I absolutely in one day I went through Jack 1 and Jack 2. Nice. In a day, I just went through both of those. I then recently, because it is one of my top games of all time and will remain in this top slot, Secret of Mana.
Nice.
The remaster from the SNES to PS4. I got it, and I couldn't be happier.
Mine's Rogue Galaxy, by the way.
I'm going to say I can be happier, but I don't care. And it's just because, you know, voice actors are voice actors. And some of them are great, Neil Kaplan being one of them. And some of them not so much. Yeah. And I feel that it's not necessarily the voice actor's fault in this. It's more of the animation for it, because it's clips of, you know, the hero is talking, but his mouth is just hanging open.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not talking, it's, oh, hi, you know, if you're actually comparing it to what the animation is. But it just instantly brought me back to being, you know, a kid. Because I actually made a tweet about this, I think. I was sitting here in my chair, playing Secret of Mana, eating some mac and cheese, and drinking Mountain Dew. And I'm like, this is me, like, how many years ago? Dead serious. I'm sitting on my bed as a kid playing Secret of Mana, drinking Mountain Dew, and having just Kraft mac and cheese. And I'm like, I'm just doing the same thing I did, 20 some odd years ago. And I am perfectly okay with it.
That's how Breath of the Wild made me feel too.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is Zelda. This is what I remember from the original Gold cartridge.
Oh yeah. I did, I love, Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
And I can never get enough of that one. Like, I have it on my DS, and I just occasionally turn it on. I'm like, yep, I remember exactly where I'm at. I remember exactly how to get through this puzzle. Let's do it. And one of my favorite things in Secret of Mana, I'm actually reaching the point where I get to see the fruits of my labor, we're going to say. Because in Secret of Mana, I don't know if you guys have ever played it.
Several times.
Mm-hmm.
Several times, okay. So you get to level 8 spells, and you can get them technically to level 9, and the animation changes for it, which makes it that much better. And I remember grabbing Salamando, casting Fireball on the SNES, and instead of seeing 3 fireballs fly out to my target, I see 3 dragons. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And they kept true to it in the PS4 remake, and I'm like so happy that, like, as soon as I could, I'm leveling this spell so I could see more dragons fly around. And I actually, just the other day, was playing it, and there were 3 enemies on the screen, and instead of casting 1 fireball to hit 3 enemies, I'd rather cast 1 fireball per enemy, because, hey, more experience and more damage.
Yeah.
It was 3 sets of 3 dragons in a row. So it was this guy gets hit by 3 dragons, this guy gets hit by 3 dragons, this guy gets hit by 3 dragons. I'm like, yep, that works. It was like, yep, this is my childhood again. I am happy.
Gotta love it. Gotta love that nostalgia feeling too.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah.
So,
Secret of Mana, Division, and a bit of Skyrim. Some Diablo.
Skyrim's always good to go back to whenever you're just like, I don't want to play anything that anybody can jump in and play. I just want to run around and feel like a god. Okay, Skyrim.
I have a little bit of an obsession when it comes to video games, and my biggest weakness is languages. I am not a linguist, but I will say I am fascinated with written languages in particular. So Daedric from Morrowind, that was written in the scrolls, I actually can read it. And Daedric is actually just transliterated, which is different than translated, because transliteration is you take a word, such as the word love, and you write it in the language or in a different language using the same character for character translation.
Oh, okay.
So you would use L for you would use a lambda in Greek for L. You would use omega for O, and then you would use this rest. And so it's not an actual word in the other language, but transliterated letter for letter, it says love. So they did that with Morrowind in the Elder Scrolls series. I am a huge fan of. So I have Daedric memorized. I have Draconic from Skyrim memorized. I have Dwarvish, Elvish from Lord of the Rings, and that's Elvish, both the Tangwar and the Tatar, which don't get me started. I have Precursor from Jak and Daxter, and I have like several other video game languages that I can read and write in. And like I said, it's a little bit of an obsession.
just a little one.
But for me, it is, I just love doing it because it makes me happy. And I actually used to keep a journal in Daedric, and my mom's like, "What the hell are you writing?" I'm like, "Oh, nothing, Mom." Just because I can, you know.
Mine was Al Bhed from Final Fantasy X.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that, and it was just from like repetition of just playing the game over and over again and hearing them speak it, and then like you get the primers and you learn it and all that. So, oh, you son of a...
Yeah, which is similar, fairly similar. I guess it's transliteration, but they literally...
Yeah, they swap letters.
It's a letter swap.
Yeah.
And,
swapping letters is transliteration.
Yeah. It's a cipher,
whereas
basically.
translation is more like you could use the word agape, which is Greek for love.
Yeah.
You could use the Mandalorian word Dakut for idiot, which Star Wars throw in there. It's because I'm fascinated with languages. I know a little bit of Mandalorian from Star Wars, which I don't know anyone else who speaks it, but I can a little bit. I took Greek and Hebrew in high school at the same time.
Nice.
Alongside of Spanish, and I don't remember any Spanish. But yeah, languages have always fascinated me. So when it came to video games and their languages, I'm all for.
The only other one I learned was I learned a little bit of Dothraki.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I watched...
From Game of Thrones?
Yeah, and that's because I watched the series, about 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
Between watching it when it originally came out and then watching it when I was hurt, when I was at physical therapy, and then watching it with my girlfriend, and then rewatching it because it's like, what do you guys want to watch? What do you want to watch? I don't know. What do you want to watch? You want to watch Game of Thrones?
Because why not?
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm a little disappointed that that's being pushed back to 2019.
I mean, we're getting 6 movies, if you think about it.
Yeah, but still...
Look,
I need to know what happens.
I get it. I mean, and if you read the books, it's not the same. That's another good thing. They're so off book. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, the books! Why would they do that?" And I'm like, the only thing that they got George R. R. Martin's clearance on that's in the book is Hodor. That's it. That's it. Everything else, there's just kind of like he was just like, do whatever you want. It's not.
Like, yeah.
It's not canon, so you're all right.
Yeah, I mean, then being a comic book nerd, you have to come to terms with the fact that when you're adapting something into another media, it's like, at least when like initially, like as a fan, it's like you want that exact story again. But then you come to realize, like, but if I want that exact story, I can just go back to this. Why don't I see these characters in a new situation?
And that actually brings up an interesting point. I'm a DC fan. I'm a Marvel fan. I enjoy my comics.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, I was quite disappointed with Justice League. And not because, it's Justice League and it's not holding up true and blah, 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 blah. No, it's the fact that DC can't put out a very good live-action movie, in my opinion. Wonder Woman was amazing, don't get me wrong. But when it came to Justice League, it fell short because they had done a Justice League animated movie, and they did great on it. And the Justice League live-action movie is that same movie, just with a different villain. And I was disappointed.
See, I liked Suicide Squad, personally. I thought Suicide Squad was great.
Suicide Squad was good, but a lot of people are going to just say, it's a Harley Quinn and Deathstroke love story. It's like, I can see that, but at the same time, I don't want to admit that's true.
I will respectfully disagree with that. Another one was the whole Heath Ledger was the best Joker ever. That whole debate. I'm gonna fuck this dog up.
Best Joker, I'm going to still have to attribute to Nicholson. Just because he did it right the first time. Heath Ledger, amazing Joker. Absolutely amazing. And I can't give the guy enough props for it. But Jared Leto's Joker was not that great. I mean, he brought a different light to the Joker. And if you read the comics, it's kind of a Joker that has existed at some point. Mm-hmm. But it's not the Joker everybody knows.
Yeah, you got to be a hardcore fan to know that Joker.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why it didn't get as good a press. Is because it is a Joker that does exist, but it's not the one everybody is familiar with.
Yeah. Now, Reythos, I believe you probably have picked up the fact that I've mentioned Paladins. And that is a game I think both Des and I enjoy playing. But Des, is there anything else that you've been getting into before we get into some Paladins talk? Before
like I said, I've been hitting some Injustice, trying to get some of this new stuff, and because some of this epic gear, like some of the new gear they've added is very nice. Which they finally get. They finally gave Green Arrow a few sets that actually have a hood now. So he has a hood, which, yeah, I mean, probably his best look so far. Yeah, I mean, Injustice, I still have not went back to Final Fantasy 15. I need to, though. It's like the last update. Or even the update after the Royal Edition update, has apparently added Chocobo breeding to their Comrades game mode, and I need that in my life. It's like if you want to get me stuck in a Final Fantasy game, add Chocobo breeding again, and that's a pretty good bet that I'm going to go back and try it out because, I mean, come on. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been my games in general. I mean, as Buster lets the dog out, and a little behind the scenes there.
It's fine.
As we stall for time, to bring Buster in the conversation.
I'm going to probably be very unpopular here with Buster. I have never played Paladins.
That's fair.
I have looked at it. I've seen it. And my big thing is I can't get into games like it. I don't know what it is. I just have issues getting into games where it's League of Legends, Overwatch. I don't like those style of games. It's a constant PvP struggle, and I despise PvP. As you can tell from my wonderful states and stats in Crucible, but I absolutely despise doing PvP.
That's fair.
It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, like I said, it's a fair take on it, because, I mean, yeah, I mean, Paladins, Overwatch, and like I said, League of Legends, MOBAs, I mean, they build their foundation on, I mean, their entire thing, hero shooter genre in general is just PvP. I mean,
yeah,
it is a PvP game.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, I've tried getting into games where it's like, hey, you have your side, like League of Legends, you have your side, the opponent has their side, and you're fighting to reach their side and do whatever. I like Capture the Flag, don't get me wrong, but...
Oh, my Jesus.
I can only play it so many times before I'm like, okay, what's next? Oh, it's the same thing. Okay, never mind.
Well, this part is going to be kind of rough for you then, because...
Oh, it's fine.
That was more of a joke than anything. Paladins is getting a huge update. Isn't that the best way to put it, Des?
Yeah.
OB68. It's called Ascension, right? Or the Siege?
Siege of Ascension Peak.
Siege of Ascension Peak. There is a character who was, I guess Genos is a god, right? Because he ascended. He
is the Ascendant, which, now that they've focused out their lore and are starting to flesh it out, yeah. Genos sat upon Ascension Peak and literally reached the stars. Which is amazing.
Yeah. So we're getting the Siege game mode, which we thought would be PvE, but it actually is PvP.
It's literally a faction war.
It's the Magistrate versus the Paladins. So it's and best part about it, I thought it's gonna make you get good at everything, at every character, because you spawn in, you get put on a side. You don't even choose a side, I believe, right? It's just
I'm not sure.
They made it seem like it's just a randomly determined, you're Paladins this time and you're Magistrate, unless you're, probably if you're in a team, it's a different story. You're on the side, you get randomly chosen a character, you play on the new map, which is Ascension Peak, which is a beautiful map, holy shit, and the entire time you're getting bombarded by fireballs, because
it's a siege.
Because catapults.
One of the characters, one of the characters is the leader of a house, and she sent her Primus, which is the new character coming at OB69 Khan, to get Genos, and he's like, I'm gonna go get him, and then it shows in a dope ass trailer that he came with an army, and Genos wiped them out with a wave of his hand.
Yeah,
I'm
like, all right then.
Yeah, these guys are super strong. Cool.
It's like,
yeah,
okay,
all right.
Good luck, buddy.
That's the thing that happened.
Yeah, but that's this pass is going to take two passes. Yeah, is that what they said? This.
I think so. I think Siege of Ascension Peak. Yeah, it starts here, and I think it lasts to the next OB build, in which they will introduce Khan himself in OB69.
Go lay down. Oh my god.
Which, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. That big, huge sucker, like Ermagerd. It's like, this is a guy that, in stature, is just
big.
Yeah, it's big, huge, freaking armor. A very small head, apparently, which everyone comments on.
He's very Gaul-like in stature.
Oh yeah, he might be the same size as Ruckus, hilariously, which Ruckus is a little goblin in a very giant mech,
made of an intelligent sword. Well, no.
Well, not anymore. I don't think.
No, not anymore. The crystal was from the pummel of an intelligent sword.
And something like that.
Yeah.
His original story was a little more interesting, but yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, well, what can you do? We got lore finally, Des. What do you want?
You win some, you lose some.
But we're getting some new skins, which
like a few new skins. Some of them are definitely showing up. This open. They're treating their skins more like Overwatch in this upcoming open beta, and the fact they're going to be one, like the character skin itself is one solid set. Because they used to have this system where you can mix and match like body pieces, chest piece, or head pieces, and like an accessory piece to mix and match looks. And now they're like, you know what? Let's just give them one skin, and that way we can do better skins.
And they did.
Yeah, like this demon Genos looks.
I'm about to say, I'm sure Reythos will enjoy the aesthetics, even though he doesn't play the game. Do you have them saved offhand, or do you need me to I can post them in the chat?
Yeah, you can post them.
All right, I'll be real.
And like give it a look, like, and people. Well, if you're on our Discord, I have posted a link in our Paladins channel that led to the Twitter to show off some of these skins.
I don't think I'm in the RNG Discord.
We can fix that real fast.
Yeah, we can fix it relatively quickly. But I posted the screenshots of the RNG Discord to the chat so Reythos can see them.
I still don't know how I feel about the
Vivian?
No, about Saris.
Oh, you didn't like... Oh, I thought you would like Saris.
I'm dubbing it Slutty Waifu Saris.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true as well.
Which, I mean, yeah or Stripper Saris. I
was going to say Orochi Saris. But...
Yeah, I kind of prefer the kind of classier, Chinese waifu Saris.
The Madam
which
Saris.
I was able to get. Yeah, the Madam Saris. But, I mean, it's just preference and such.
The one that made me cringe was the Schoolgirl Sky. That made me go a little bit like...
I'm really not surprised at that.
No.
Because they had recently done Schoolgirl Amaterasu in Smite.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. So, I kind of saw... That one's not that huge of a surprise. It doesn't look that bad, though.
No, but, it's still kind of like...
Well, I'm mentioning, because the PTS is now up today, and I'm actually looking at the in-game model.
Yeah.
Which doesn't look awful. Once my computer can bring up... Oh my god, the sword on Demon Slayer Zendo.
Yeah, I don't even like Zen. I might play Zen right? for that.
How does Saris look in the game? Okay, so the way... the Siege of Ascension Peak is definitely going to be working like a Smite event. Which, fairly unfortunately, does kind of mean, to get the goods, you're going to need to buy them. It looks like.
Yeah, I saw that. You can't just unlock them through gameplay.
Yeah. It is 900 crystals to buy all bundles, which will... Getting all bundles gives you the Demon Genos, Paladins First Loading Frame, which is another Smite thing coming over, an MVP pose, a title known as Supreme Senpai. Yeah,
might get it just for that.
No, that title is yes. Let me wear Supreme Senpai. So yeah, but that's the only drawback to Smite events. Because for the Smite events, they usually are, some of the more outrageous ones, like I said, they had a freaking Mario Kart, mode in Smite, where you're picking these racers, you get power-ups, and it was almost an exact, Mario Kart, and it was really fun, but to fully enjoy the event, you needed to, buy bundles and get this, and, which, I mean, take it or leave it, I mean... It's a thing, and much like Smite, it's, like I said, at base a free game. So this is another source of... This is going to be another heavy source of revenue for them, for sure. Because, I mean, Smite events are, popular.
Hypothetically?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not in the Smite community. So that's for sure. But,
Smite's the one with gods, right? As deities?
They literally take everything from various mythologies. Not usually all gods per se, but also Chinese immortals, which, in the mythology are very similar to gods. But yeah, they just take things from pantheons and put them into one world where they're fighting each other.
Mm-hmm. I did play Smite a little bit. And, I enjoy mythology as well. And I don't necessarily mind the fact that we're taking gods, deities, immortals, and putting them in a fight to the death, essentially. Because, what else are they going to do for all of eternity?
I know, right? Yeah, that not do love life.
I've never heard of a better way to explain that. Yeah. What would you do if you were immortal? Not true.
I mean, yeah.
Why not? I mean, we're not going to die. Let's go ahead and duke it out.
Yeah, there's definitely also some kind of overarching story, to why they're there and such. But I mean, like I said, it's a bunch of gods. I mean, you're immortal. Things happening.
I'm just going to come back in a couple minutes. a little bit pissed off. Would be the word. What's going to happen? I'm going to be pissed off in about, if I lose, I'll be pissed. It'll hurt. Other than that, I'm okay. Whatever. Oh my god, this fucking dog. He is just. He's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna mess up your whole day. Is Pete's goal, but I love him, and all he wants to do is be outside because I think he thinks that my girlfriend's up, and he loves her, which makes me feel good because, if one dog doesn't like you, then it's pretty bad. If a dog only likes one person in the family, it gets pretty contentious. But guys, I did a thing.
What'd you do?
What did you do?
Man, I bought an Xbox.
I think I saw a tweet about that.
Yeah, I bought an Xbox and I played
specifically for a game,
specifically for Sea of Thieves. And oh man, that game is so fucking fun. It's just so fun. I didn't get a chance to play with any of the people. By the way, if you sent me a friend request on Xbox, thank you. That's pretty awesome. I'm sure if you get Sea of Thieves, we will definitely partake in the Sea of Thievery. I gave it the pillaging, the plundering. But I played it 2 hours. Did a couple missions. Just sailed around, and I can say just solo. A lot of people are like, this game doesn't seem fun solo. It's really fun. It's really fun solo, and I'm into it. It's great. It's also a game that you can just derp out on and just. I'm not going to do any missions. I'm just going to sail around.
Holy crap!
I'm just going to sail around and fuck the day up. Is what I did. I did get attacked by a bigger ship, and I did get sunk, but I was also one man against a crew of 5 shooting cannons at me as I was like, I gotta go. Oh, man.
Get out of here. Get out.
I got caught in a storm, and by caught in a storm, it literally spins your...
ship around?
Your ship around. Yeah. It not only does it spin your ship around, but it makes it very difficult for you to steer or navigate. It makes your compass spin, like you can't even focus. I'm like, what's going on? Oh my god, that's ridiculous. That is indeed a copy.
I found that after you guys mentioned it.
That's no,
and I had to share it.
Yeah, I mean, visually they are incredibly similar, and even in abilities they are fairly similar, because Bridget does have a shield. Of course, Ash uses a shield. They use different weapons, but like I said, the whole rally banner and things, and oh my god, this game mode.
Is it fun?
Well, you were right. It is definitely entirely... You do not control anything. You pick the game mode, and it picks a character for you. Not only is it a random side?
Stop.
And I feel bad, but I'm gonna have to abandon this game. But it's the PTS, so they shouldn't care. But yeah, you load in, and not only is your side randomly chosen, your character is randomly chosen for you.
So complete randomization.
Yeah, it is like entirely random. It's their Onslaught game mode, so it's more of a death match, but they do have... It's basically King of the Hill, is what Onslaught is. They have a giant point in the middle. You get points for controlling the point, but you get more points for killing people. So if you control the point and kill people, you'll steamroll the other team.
Right.
But yeah, it's essentially like a King of the Hill, But yeah, like I said, I just went to queue up just to see how it worked. And yeah, you don't pick anything. It's strangely
start and go.
Yeah, strangely there's a cinematic. I couldn't hear what Khan was saying, but there's a cinematic that focuses on Khan, which is a ginormous freaking character for sure, because he was holding Victor and like tossed him off of a cliff.
Oh.
And it's like, why?
It would be really funny if Khan was voiced by Neil Kaplan.
I know, right?
Can't escape that Primus title, can you?
But but yeah, so that was confusing. But yeah, it's Magistrate versus Paladins. But you don't know the side. You don't know. I kind of wish there would be like a side preference to be able to choose, at the very least. But yeah, it's just completely random. And the map looks gorgeous. Ascension Peak. I mean, there's fire everywhere. It's a war zone. Like holy crap. But yeah, so yeah, just got a little taste of it, and it's.
And they mentioned that the capture point is in the middle and large. It's in that room with the scorpion and the rabbit statue, which is funny because that's some of Genos' abilities.
Yeah, well, I guess that's their constellations.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I mean, it's an onslaught capture point. Like in fact, it's even listed as an onslaught game type. So, like once you load in, it's a game of onslaught.
Random.
Yeah, it's on that map, and you can't choose anything. Like you're gonna have to like at least some basic character knowledge, to effectively like pretty much play. Because hilariously, as I loaded in, it gave me Zen.
Nice.
It's like,
and on PTS, you get the skins too, right?
Yeah, because when you load into the PTS, they give you like something like 100,000, like 1,000,000 or something crystals, so you can like literally just unlock and buy everything to your heart's content.
That and it tests out if there's any like weird glitches or
yeah. So I mean, yeah, there's no like it just gives you a crap ton of like all kinds of currency. So because there's no like progress tied to it, because there's definitely one PTS where I literally like bought every character. I bought every chest and got like every skin out of every chest, and then the next PTS is like, it's a carry over. It's like, I'm not doing that again. But yeah, like I said, just got a taste of it. It might be fun. I don't usually prefer Onslaught, but like I said, this seems pretty interesting. Sadly though, for 900 crystals, I was looking at the pricing of it. That is like, because I think like their $10 or $12 crystal bundle is 800 crystals.
Yeah, it's like...
So it's an awkward pricing to get everything, but at the same time, it basically is worth it because it's like each bundle is the price of a diamond chest, and a diamond chest gives you a random skin collection or collection.
Yeah, so
for your character.
It might not be a character that you are good at. And if you're a Genos main, you might as well get the best skin.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So you're buying 3 diamond chests effectively, but at the same time, you know what you're getting. You're actually getting extra stuff in the bundle beyond the skin, because there was actually one bundle that gives you a diamond chest. So
I think they all give you diamond chests, don't they?
Probably.
I didn't give you diamond chests and a crest.
Yeah, and then of course they give you like each bundle has a skin that's associated with, and buying all the bundles gives you this amazingly epic demonic Genos skin. So it's definitely worth, essentially, because you're getting a skin and you're getting a free diamond chest for the cost of a diamond chest. So I mean, in the end, like rough number, like just bare numbers, it's kind of worth, but I mean, it's discretionary, basically. I mean, you know, I'll probably get all the bundles, to be honest.
Same.
Because it's going to be like $24.99 for the bundle to get the crystals, and you'll have some left over. Because I think that bundle is 1,200 crystals.
Okay.
I think. But it's over 1,000 crystals for sure, so you're definitely ending up with some spare crystals.
Sorry about that, guys.
Which is unfortunate. Like I said, it's slightly unfortunate because I do like usually detest these bundles that go just barely above. Like that's one of my issues with Warframe is they have a lot of bundles that just go barely above
their first step,
what you can buy on like one bundle. Mm-hmm. So you end up having to get extra. But like I said, for this it seems to be a worth, but at the same time, it's like, really, guys? Like, really? It's like, come on.
That's how they get their revenue.
I know. And like I said, it is a base free game, so I mean, but like I said, like looking into a lot of this, I am coming to terms like a lot with Warframe and such, which is actually I still have not deleted off my PS4. I just don't have. I have all these games now, and I just don't quite have the time to get into something as grindy as Warframe. Because free Warframe is a grindy Warframe. Like, holy
yes,
crap.
it is.
Yeah.
I have played Warframe, and dear God.
Yeah. It's like, no
I got,
negative or positive
I got
sentiment.
Warframe as soon as I got the PS4. Just because I was looking for something that I could quick play and have fun in. And, yeah, I mean, you could have fun in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
But
quick play it, and you can definitely have fun. Yeah. If you have a limited time frame, like I said, free Warframe is super grindy Warframe. But yeah, like I said, no negative or positive about that. It's just that's kind of the truest thing about Warframe. If you're playing it for free, totally prepare for the grind. If you're willing to throw some money at it,
all of you gamers out there that love grinding Warframe,
just don't buy any platinum, don't get any platinum, and there's your grind for a long time.
There's a frame.
Y'all can shut up. Go enjoy your grind.
There's a frame that you have to get. It's Equinox. His shtick is day-night. You have to get the day form, and then you have to get the night form.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So you're grinding for 2 frames for 1?
Yeah. There's
Christ.
Also the Dragon Chroma that you have to get, like, I think Ember's chassis. Like, you have to get 3 different parts from 3 different frames. So you have to grind their frame to get them, and then grind them to get the secondary parts.
Oh, Jesus.
And then there's one that you have to fight a boss that doesn't spawn all the time.
So, RNG.
RNG on RNG.
I started with Excalibur.
Which everyone does.
I bought Atlas, and I bought Rhino. Just to show you how tanky I am.
Yeah, but
Atlas and Rhino.
I think
he's a tank.
Everyone for sure starts their first time Warframe, I think, with Excalibur. Because my first load into Warframe was Excalibur.
My girlfriend started with Volt or whatever it was.
Okay. Well, because apparently it had been so long.
It has a really interesting mechanic to it. I know. I think Excalibur is just the most ninja-esque looking one.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But...
I mean, that and it's like definitely the most Guyver.
Yeah.
But like it had been so long that I had played Warframe, and they updated so much that when I went back into it, though I somehow kept some of the progress, but I had to like restart essentially and play through the first level and choose again. So it's like, you know what? I'm not going to choose Excalibur this time. I kind of wish I had, but at the same time, Mag is super fun.
Mag is fun.
Mag is weak though, but at the same time, like the ult for Mag is basically like a Magneto crush in this area, and it just looks cool. And it's like, but I'm so weak. But this looks so cool.
The only time I ever buy frames is when, one, I get a gift card dropped in my lap, because that happens every now and then because of my girlfriend's job, and 2, when I get there's the log on bonuses, and it's I think it's
the 50% off or whatever.
I got one for 75% off.
Nice.
But I've built a lot of frames. Like I've built Rhino. I've built I built Mag. I built Nidus. I bought Limbo, which is my favorite frame of all time. I got Titania, which I don't know why I got that one. That's a waste of time if you don't get it because it's pretty. I just don't like it. Some people do. Yeah. And I bought Octavia, and I got Octavia for like 90%, 75% off.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, fuck it. And Octavia is a fun frame, but it's like it's more fun to play with, to play as Octavia than to have one on your team. Just like Limbo. Like I've gotten messages like, "Why do you play Limbo?" And I'm like, "Oh, because I can do this." And then I'll disappear, I'll reappear, I'll grab the target, put the target in the rift, and then be like, we can just go. It's fine.
Mission's done. See you later."
Just meet me back whenever you're done. I'm gonna be over here at the end.
It's like, I got this. It's done. Now you guys are just wasting my time.
Yeah. Waiting is
and
what I'm
waiting.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say Sea of Thieves was well worth it.
I do find it hilarious, though, that I am already starting to see the certain forgiveness from a lot of people for Sea of Thieves. Because I've seen on Twitter, it's like, yeah, so what if it doesn't have a lot of content? It's like fresh game. It's like, wait, why are you guys so forgiving of this? And like half of these same people are still trash talking D2. It's like,
yeah.
Because I get paid to trash talk D2.
It's like that's the only thing confusing me, because there's already some people, of course, that are like, "Oh, I'm Sea of Thieves neutral, because there's no way I'm buying an Xbox just for one game, or else I would have had an Xbox. I would have had an Xbox One for Killer Instinct, because that fighting game is freaking amazing. But again, I couldn't justify it then. It's like, there's no way. They're like, no. Like,
no.
For me, if I did end up getting an Xbox, I would immediately go repurchase the Halos. I'm dead serious on that. I enjoyed Halo, and I always will, because it was one of those groundbreaking newish games that everybody had to have. And it's one that if you didn't play it, you don't understand the genre as a whole, it feels like.
Yeah.
And for me, there's just a handful of those games out there that are like, no, you have to play this. Why? Because you have to play it. It's that simple. I don't need another excuse. Like Borderlands, you have to play it. Why? Because you have to play it. That is my reason.
Well, other than why, Handsome Jack.
Yes,
Handsome Jack is the reason why you play Borderlands, because that game. I just bought it, the Handsome Jack collection, and
nice.
I'll sit and have him just talk to me.
So, since you have the Handsome Jack collection, I will mention I have it as well. Who is your favorite character of Borderlands 2 or Borderlands 2 the pre-sequel?
I've only played the Commando.
Okay, so you've played Axton.
The one that wait, is it the Commando? No, the one that throws the drone, the turret. Sorry,
that's Axton. Yeah,
okay.
He drops a turret down and it shoots a machine gun. Yeah,
yeah,
that's Axton. He is a great character. I absolutely love him, and I always play him when I'm solo. However, you have to create Krieg. You have to.
Is that the Berserker?
Yes, he is my favorite. Just because of the stupid, zany, insane, psychotic stuff he says. For instance, when you're idle and you're doing nothing, he will start to quietly mutter something until he's screaming it. And the phrase is, no silence.
No silence?
Nipple salads.
Nipple salads? Oh, wow.
Nipple salads.
Yeah. He starts muttering it, and you're like, wait, what did he say? And then he's like, nipple salads! It's like, okay, dude, calm down.
That's hilarious.
A lot of Krieg's idle talk is just, there is no describing it, but it is absolutely hilarious. Like, he has a sentence that every word starts with the letter P.
Nice.
And it makes sense, but obviously it's psychotic.
I mean, obviously, yeah.
Because his skills are like, you hurt me, I get stronger. I hurt you, I get life. Okay.
Yeah. And there's a perk on him where your allies can shoot you and they'll deal damage, but each stack of damage that they deal to you increases your damage output in general.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So my girlfriend plays Gage, who's another real fun solo player, because she summons that mech that helps fight and do stuff.
She's the Necromancer, right? Is that the title?
Yeah. She's actually really fun if you're doing solo as well. And the thing about Gage is her anarchy tree, which is her right skill tree. You get less bullets in your gun, but your bullets can now ricochet, and they deal more damage with the higher stacks of anarchy that you have. Stacks of anarchy by killing things and by using a full clip of your gun and not manually reloading, which we've all been trained to do for first-person shooters. You manually reload. With Gage, you don't manually reload, ever, because it takes away your stacks of anarchy, but it's a 1-to-1%. So you get one stack of anarchy, get a 1% increase for your overall DPS. Wow. It stacks to like 300. So 300% damage output on Gage. So and when you have an increase, or when you have stacks of anarchy, it also increases your mag size. So it takes longer to burn through a clip without manually reloading, because, we're all trained to do so. But the payoff is worth it. And if you can get a drop from Doc Mercy, who's one of the first big bosses that you technically fight, in my opinion, once you get to the actual mainland, he drops what is known as the Infinity Pistol.
Yeah.
Has a clip of 1, never reloads, and the bullets shoot in an infinite symbol.
Yeah, its recoil pattern is the infinity sign.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Which is fun as hell. And as Gage, with bouncing in unlimited bullets, yeah. And it's not a gun that you don't reload. It's a gun that you don't use bullets for. It literally takes no bullets. So you're shooting and your backpack doesn't go down. You are bouncing bullets every which way because, the infinity recoil symbol and the whole bullets are ricocheting because of anarchy. And, I'm my Krieg around and I get grazed by a bullet every once in a while, and I'm hacking and slashing things to bits. It's a very fun pairing.
That's really
If you ever want to play Borderlands, just tell me, and I'll throw that disc in, and we can play it.
I'll definitely take you up on that offer because it's a fun game. It really is fun.
It is.
And I mean, it's also super fun that I can be. I think I was level 3 or 4, and then one of my buddies jumped in who was, I don't know, what is it, like epic level? Like
OP?
Yeah,
OP?
You get up to like level 60, and then it goes into OP levels.
Yeah, I think he was like OP something, and
OP levels are hard to do.
Yeah.
Insanely hard, because what is it called? Something peak. It's just so insanely stupid to do because everything is hard as hell, but it's worth it. And I think I've gotten to OP level 1, maybe 2, but I can't get past it because you definitely need more than just yourself.
Yeah.
What he did was super cool because he was just like, hey man, I saw you got Borderlands 2. That's cool. You mind if I jump in? I'm like, sure, man, come on in. That's who I am. Mm-hmm. Unless I'm doing something offhand, but I can't really think of an excuse to tell you no. I don't want you to join in the reindeer games. And he was like, all right. So he's running around. He's like, oh dude, just hang back real quick. I got you. And he did. I think he was playing like a siren. Is that the
Yeah.
By siren.
And he was playing a siren, and he was just like, I got you, don't worry, go ahead, just run. I'm like, I'm gonna die. He's like, no, you're not. And it tells you like somebody joins in, boss, like enemies are harder. I'm like, I'm worried.
The Pandora gets stronger, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, it's cool, you're fine. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure I'm fine? Because I don't think I'm gonna be fine. He's like, no, you're fine, dude. And I'm like, all right. And then I was like, I gotta go, bro. Thanks for playing. I appreciate you jumping in and helping me. He's like, oh yeah, hold on 1 second here. And then he's like, here's 1 million credits.
Yep.
And I'm like, a million credits? Did you just give me 1 million credits? He's like, yeah. Don't worry, I don't need them. And I'm like,
it's cool. I don't need them. Yeah. Exactly.
And then
that's exactly how I am.
And then he dropped like a weapon for me.
Here's a handful of guns that you probably can't use yet, but when you can, feel free.
Yeah. Don't
need to give them back. It's cool.
Yeah, that's why I was like, do you want these back? Because I'm gonna be real honest with you and tell you I'm not gonna give these back to you. I mean, I appreciate all you've done for me, but I'm not gonna give these back.
I'm gonna save these indefinitely.
Yeah.
One gun that you can get from a not a boss is called the Unkempt Herald. It is a shotgun pistol, and I want to say shotgun pistol because how it works is the bullets fragment. So you shoot one bullet in front of you, but it splits into 2, and those 2 split into 4, and those 4 split into 8, and you're shooting a wave of bullets.
Oh, boy.
And it is a super fun gun, and it does a hell of a lot of damage, especially if you're point blank. But even at range, it does work. But there's a good handful of guns, hand cannons in particular, in Borderlands 2 that I like, and I don't even like hand cannons in Destiny. I think it's because the legendaries in Borderlands actually feel legendary, whereas the exotics in Destiny are still just kind of meh, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I could just be biased against hand cannons, but I don't think I...
No. Wow. We're at 2.5 hours, Des. That came quick.
I know, right?
I will say, Reythos, thank you for coming on.
Oh, dude, anytime.
I was going to say, you have an open invitation if you're ever up early in the morning and you're like, hey, can I come on RNG? Just message me. And I'll be like, yeah, come on RNG, because you fit in like a puzzle piece, dude. That was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Because I just realized what time it was, and I was like, I got to take my girlfriend to her aunt's house before she goes to work, so I have to cut this kind of short. Sorry, guys. Reythos, tell everybody where they can find you, buddy.
I'm going to do a little plug that I do on DTR, and it's Reythos anywhere you go. It is Reythos on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. Literally, you plug the name in Reythos, you're probably going to find me. Reythos anywhere you go, essentially.
Daz, go ahead, buddy. Oh, go ahead.
You can find me on Twitter at DES_Raven, as usual. And, of course, it is DES Raven on PS4, all one word. Say hello, and where you had from, and, yeah.
And you can find me on Twitter at BusterKnuckle13. You can find me on PSN at BlisterLister113. And you can find me on Xbox now at BusterKnuckle13. See what I did there? I got smart. Also, Buster Knuckle was taken. You can find this podcast, The RNG Cast, at The RNG Cast on Twitter. You can email us, TheRNGcast@gmail.com. We have a Patreon, and we have content coming whenever we can get time to record an episode. But that's patreon.com/TheRNGcast. At any level, you will get the content as our way of saying sorry we were kind of lazy and didn't do exclusive content for you guys sooner. So, that being
May I also point out that you can also listen to the RNG Cast on Podbean.
Yes.
For those of you that like to listen to podcasts after the fact or way after the fact, Podbean has all the episodes of the RNG Cast.
Yes, because we are
high tech,
universal. Yeah, we're just kind of everywhere. I mean, iTunes, Google Play. We try and that was a goal early. It's like we want to be everywhere. Like we don't want to leave a market out. It's like we just want to be everywhere.
Also, I'm trying to get us on Spotify, which is really hard. Just to let you guys know, Spotify is super hard to get on, but I'm working on it. And that being said, by the way, Des, this is episode 94. Yeah.
Now, what to call episode 94 is the real question.
Oh, that's all Buster's magic right there.
Yeah, that's all me.
I take no claims to that goldenness.
We're marching towards episode 100, and then after that, our 2 years. With that being,
be
getting closer and closer.
It is.
Oh my god.
And with that being said, this is episode 94 of the RNG Cast with Reythos. We're out.
Later, man.
Peace out, guys.
See you all next week.